that. And then Tuesday when you get in there is when we start doing our basic game plan for the next game. So you have like not a lot of time. So every chance you get, like I go to the hotel like every Saturday early, and I'm in there drawing and watching tape and drawing next week's stuff for.
Right.
You were with the team when I used to work at the Westin, and I was sales manager.
Yeah, forever.
Check in everybody.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was which Romig ran the show over there. Jay.
Yeah,
and then what was your travel guy?
James Nagoka.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just retired last year. Was his first
He
year.
retired?
He retired last year. Yeah, before last season. Yeah.
He was a cool guy. He didn't talk
He was a
much.
great dude.
He didn't talk much.
And always styled up and just.
He made me like. It was almost intimidating to talk to him a little bit. It's really weird because he's super short, but I'm like,
It's very.
James, anything I can get you?
They don't say much. He's always a straight look on his face. But like when you talk to me to know him, he's a funny little dude now.
Yeah,
He lives out in Phoenix now.
That's
Tired
cool.
out there, yeah.
Yeah, he was really good. So, all right, y'all. Hey, everybody. Welcome to, with that being said, a Roof Fitness podcast. Yeah, we've been recording for a minute, but
That's perfect.
that's how we do it. We have with us my co-host in action all the time, the Clyde Edwards-Helaire of everything she ever does, Sarah Altabello.
That's me.
Welcome, Sarah. We have a special guest with us, the pass rush specialist. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah,
right?
That's what the title is.
For the New Orleans Saints, all-around badass, former defensive lineman, Brian Young. What's up, Brian?
How you doing, man?
And I am the Joe Burrow of podcast host, Bradley Schneller. Also,
There you go.
say it.
The humble servant of the podcast world.
That's me. All right.
I was like, oh, I'm going to screw this one up.
So, due to the facility being closed, the Saints facility, we got the pleasure of working out with Brian for the past, couple months?
Yeah, about 2 months, yeah.
And it's been super fun. So I wanted to get him on and kind of talk about his evolution of working out. So back in the day, I know you went to high school in Texas, right?
Yeah, El Paso, West Texas.
Yeah. And is that kind of when you started working out, or did you start working out before then?
No, I mean, my dad was a fitness instructor for the military. So, I mean, from the time I could really start walking and running, my dad had me. I mean, I think 6th grade, 5th grade, it was 5 and 10 mile runs on the weekends every Saturday and Sunday at 5:30 in the morning.
Damn, that's
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah, no, it was no push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups. I mean, I could do what all the privates did when I was in, like I said, 6th, 5th grade. Yeah.
That's like you, though. You ran with your dad when you were younger, right?
Yeah, like 2-3 miles.
And listen, so we're in Germany, and I mean, if you didn't keep up with him, he was leaving you. Like, you were going to keep up with his pace, or he would leave you in the middle of nowhere. And if you didn't know you went home, you were done. So you kept up.
No. My dad was like he's a running enthusiast.
Oh.
Like, that's it. We always were in the neighborhood. I knew where home was.
So did he teach you how to weight lift, or
No,
did you kind of learn on your own? He
no,
did more of like put that exercise influence on you.
Yeah, it was just more about being in shape. I mean, like I said, it was that. I mean, we did 20-mile bike rides. I mean, it was just staying active and being outside and doing things, hiking. He just loved being out. He's like me. He's a crackhead. He couldn't sit still, couldn't sit down and watch TV. It's just not him. And so
I love it.
yeah, we were always out doing something. And then really when I got to high school after my freshman year is when I really got into weights. It's the
Yeah.
first time I
How long
looked
did y'all live in Germany for?
Total of 6 years. 4 years the first time, and then went back for another 2-year stint.
That's legit.
Yeah.
It was fun. I lived over there.
So how early did you get into football?
Well, so I did 2 years of Pee Wee League football in Georgia. And then, we moved to Germany. So back then, like Germany, they
Right.
didn't have football unless you were in high school. So everything was soccer. So we went over there. I didn't play football really again until I came back to the States. And 8th grade, I mean, I was a backup.
Did you play soccer in Germany?
Oh, yeah. So that's what I grew up playing, really.
Do you ever like stop and watch soccer now?
Well, not because I'm a crackhead. I don't watch much TV, so I can't.
Right.
Like, any sport, I really, other than football, I can't watch. But like in person, like when I was in high school, so my senior year, I wanted to play soccer, and my coach knew I was going to get a football scholarship, and then my head coach was like, "You're not playing soccer. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to blow out your knee." I'm like, "I'm playing soccer."
Right.
So needless to say, anyways, so I'm done with my football season, and I talked to the coach, and like, all right, so if you go hang on the goalpost for 10 minutes, and we're going to kick soccer balls at you. If you don't let go, we'll let you be on the team. I'm like, all right. So of course I do it. Well then, needless to say, my old head coach kind of worked his magic and found a way to make me ineligible academically. So
Stop.
so that way I couldn't play soccer because he didn't want me to, he didn't want me to blow up my knee or something and take a chance of losing my football
I
scholarship.
blew out my knee playing soccer. Recreationally.
That is why
Yeah.
my parents never let me play.
It's a rough sport.
No,
like
it's-
people don't know, but soccer can be pretty rough on
Well,
the legs.
and in Germany
anyway.
too, because I mean
Yeah.
it's like their sport. So I mean, you're out there day one, you're learning how to slide tackle, and I mean it's. I mean, I remember this day we had a kid named Starburst who was like on our opposing team, and him and I were like rivals. So every time we played each other, we were trying to kill each other out there, slide tackle, and trying to. I mean, even if you didn't have the ball, you were trying to take each other out.
What you guys
Yeah.
don't know at home, if a guy doesn't like you, he's going cleats up right into your
Oh, yeah.
shin.
No doubt.
Right?
No
Forget
doubt.
about that. So you started working out, what, your freshman year?
Yeah, freshman year.
Self-taught, or did you have a pretty good program in high school?
No, we had a pretty, I mean, we had normal little weight room, a high school weight room. I mean, I think I've actually benched. I was always strong. I mean, since I was little, I was always strong. And so, I mean, I could bench. I think I benched my freshman year 225 and squatted like 185 my freshman year. So I was always strong, but it was funny. I was stronger upper than I was lower. And then as time went on, I was actually more. I love squatting. I was more of a lower body guy.
I have a weird thing where I can bend over row more than I can bench press.
Right.
Yeah, it's super weird.
This does not shock me though. Like watching you now, like
Yeah.
I am not surprised you were benching 225 as a freshman.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah, it was just.
How would you rate like the high school weightlifting program though? Like compared to what you see now?
You know what? I mean, it's different nowadays. There's so much more stuff. I mean, back then, I mean, you were taught more than, your main core lifts, your cleans, your squats, your bench. And then, of course, at that
Still
age, everything
staples.
was
It's still staples.
curls every day back then.
Curls
Oh,
every
yeah,
day?
Every day. Every day.
What
So-
you don't realize is that we just finished a super arm intensive curl workout. You can't tell though because Brian's arms are just gigantic, but mine might look pretty jacked.
It's an optical illusion. I just got short arms. They look bigger than they are.
That seems to be the case, though. Help me understand this. You ended up being like all WAC defensive player, right?
Yeah.
And then you weren't even all state at Texas.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I was, third team. Actually, I think it was O-line, actually, at right guard.
Oh, shit.
And then I was like a fourth or fifth team at linebacker, which was my position. I was a defensive guy primarily. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then when I got to college, because I played linebacker, and then when I got to college, they moved me to D-line. It was funny because I started my freshman year at college there at D-end, and I hated I wanted to play linebacker. I did not want to play D-line. So I ended up messing up in school, my grades, got kicked out of school, lost my scholarship.
Really?
Yeah. So I dropped a ton of weight. I got down to like 218 pounds, and I told the coaches, look, I want to go back to linebacker. I don't want to play D-line. So they were like, well, look, when you come back, you're going to be a 218-pound DN because you're not playing linebacker.
And you're like, all right,
And then,
screw
so,
it.
yeah, so
Yeah.
then my next 3 years, I ended up, doing really well. Like I said, I broke 100 tackles my junior year, and then I had like 121 my senior year.
For you personally, what was the hang up?
I don't know. So like when I was in high school, like I said, I always wanted to play linebacker. Like it just was my, like Dick Butkus was like my idol. Like I wanted to play middle linebacker. And I played one snap of it against Coronado High School in my senior year because a guy got in front of us got hurt. I was the biggest guy on the team, so they threw me down. I had no idea what I was doing. They snapped the ball. Guy comes up, face. My helmet comes down, busts my nose, splits my nose open, and I was like, man, I'm done with this D-line stuff. I hate
I'm
D-line.
done.
I
I'm
don't like
over
this.
it.
It sucks. And so I don't know. I love, because back then too it was a lot more run games. So it was downhill, and I love just coming downhill and cracking. And
So
that's
did
just
you
what I
have to
like
have a
doing.
mind shift to make that switch?
I mean, I had to buy in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, so like and this kind of when I used to do my camp, this is something I used to talk to kids about. Just it's amazing the mind and how it can affect how you play and perform. But so when I first got there, when we were in training camp, again they moved to D-line, and so I didn't want to do it, and so I hadn't bought in. So they had me, we had a freshman named Mike Deal, and another guy named Ryan Pyle, and so after practice towards the end of camp, he pulls all three of us aside, and it's our D-line coach, and is trying to talk to us about what to expect. And so we had this guy Deal. Now he was like a blue chip, was supposed to go to Texas, all this stuff. He was a big name guy, big name recruit, and the coach is just going off on and on about how he's going to play this year and all this and all that. And he basically looks over at me and this other guy and is like, "You guys suck. You're going to redshirt." And it just for whatever reason it pissed me off, and I was like, "All right." So for like the next 2 weeks in practice, I'm killing our starting offensive line, and then after that we get ready for the first game. The head coach is like, "All right, you're going to travel."
Yeah, it's the tell me I can't do something.
And so
yeah.
it was amazing. I wasn't a different player, but it just my mind was like, okay, I'm gonna buy into this and
Right.
let's go. And so I ended up starting the first game that year.
It's
That's
interesting
awesome.
though, like it takes always a big mind shift in order to almost accomplish anything. And that's one thing we talk about in nutrition more so than fitness. Because you can kind of show up at the gym and go through the motions, but with making like real changes in your body, we talk about like having to have that buy-in where I'm going to make this change. You have to make a mental shift in order to do it. So
Yeah, and where like in that the change might be slow, I feel like the catalyst for that change is always something you remember, like that
Right.
story,
Yeah.
like being pulled aside and being told you suck. You're like, all right,
And never forget it.
F
yeah,
you.
But I mean, another thing too is, like I said, and it's not even that, but it's like, so for 10 to 12 days too. I mean, once you started that progression, it doesn't take long for you to get acclimated, and then it's no big deal. But it's just getting over that hump
it's
and that
this,
hurdle of,
yeah, it's your head at that point.
That's right.
What was the workout program like for football at UTEP?
Well, so like I said, we didn't really have strength coaches. So our O-line and our D-line coach were the strength coaches, and so I mean, there was a group of probably about 7 of us that were really big into the weight room. But we didn't. I mean, we had, like I said, it was probably about our weight room was about a third of the size of what we have here. You know, we had our traditional, you know, our clean rack stands and some squat racks and a couple of bench presses, like 5 or 6. And then we had a little row of dumbbells, and then we had one Nautilus equipment machine in like a little separate closet. And that was it. I mean, it wasn't
I'm just
much, but-
picturing you squeezing into
Oh,
like
yeah.
a closet with that machine trying to work
It
out.
wasn't a big spot, and you know, it was.
Yeah, Brian told me before we started recording that you got a lot of your workouts out of Bodybuilding Magazine for college. Huh?
Yeah, so we did that. Yeah, like I said, there was a group of us. And I actually had a key to the weight room, and so at nighttime, like when a lot of guys would go out and drink, you know, there was a group of us. We'd go in there and just work out at 2, 3 in the morning because we were bored and had nothing to do, and we were in there
I
a
think
lot.
about that with like, I was listening to JJ Redick's podcast with the Pelicans, and he's like, yeah, I just have all this downtime now. You know, like I do 3 to 4 hours of basketball, and then I got to fill like 12 more hours. And I'd be like, dude, I would be working out all the time. If I didn't have to worry about a wife and kids and
Oh, yeah.
real life, I would just be in the gym all the time. I'm not saying he's not. I mean, he's pretty fit.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm watching my oldest nephew's about to start his senior year, and he plays for Covington High, and he's bored, and
he's an offensive tackle.
yeah, and he wants to do well and be able to at least get a partial scholarship, and he's bored, and I'll call, and my sister's like, yeah, he's going on like hour 3 out in the garage.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
Yeah.
Did you see in college, was there like a definite difference between, like you said, the guys that would spend extra time working out versus the guys who went drinking? Like, did it matter? Like those guys are the ones that maybe made it further and the guys who were drinking didn't, or
Well, I mean,
still
it's-
is it huge talent?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it kind of goes both ways. No, don't get me wrong. I mean, I definitely did my share of drinking. And
Right.
that's why I got
Yeah,
kicked-
yeah,
that's why I
yeah.
got kicked out of
But
school.
it also sounds.
But no, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, listen, the more you put into something, the more you're going to get out of something.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, the guys, I mean, like I said, our group of guys that were working out a lot more than normal. I mean, those are the guys that were playing on Saturdays. And, you know, and actually not only that, but it made you tighter as a group. And, you know, it made you stronger with each other when you were out there on the field. And you knew the guy next to you, you trusted each other. So kind of build that bond, which is what all good teams have got.
yeah, your mindset was probably also in a better place too.
Yeah. And you trusted the man next to you because you knew who he was and what he was about.
Yep.
What was, I mean, I'd be willing to bet, so judging by what you said with the weightlifting, but like, was there even a nutrition protocol for
No,
in
no,
college?
I mean, no. I mean, listen, I did the shakes nonstop. Now, I always had my own little regimen. I mean, you know, like my agent when I was coming out of college, he used to laugh because when we were getting ready for the combine, I was training in Dallas, and so he used to have to go buy all this stuff for me. But I mean, I'd take 20 hard-boiled eggs. I'd get, so I'd go 10 whole eggs and then 10 just whites. I'd put in a bowl. I'd get 10 cans of tuna fish, and I'd get a big thing of fat-free Miracle Whip, and I'd mix it in a bowl. And so every day from the time I woke up, every hour on the hour, I'd eat 1 or 2 sandwiches like that. And then I'd have, you know, whatever I ate for breakfast. So I was really healthy. I ate really clean. You know, it was chicken breast. It was oatmeal for breakfast. So I would eat that every hour. Then I would have 4 meals a day plus 2 to 3 shakes. I mean, it was legit. And I was on point. I was strict
So-
with it. And
So this is hysterical to me because Bradley will come into the gym and he gets really hungry like after he works out. And I'll be like, so after dinner, I had 2 pork chops and then I had this apple and then I had this
yeah.
and this. And it's always really aggressive to me. But then you said that.
oh yeah, because I mean, honestly, the more you ate, like the hungry, like I don't eat as
Oh,
nowhere near
yeah.
what I used to now. But it's amazing. The more I ate, the more you did, the more you wanted to eat. Like, and it was no big deal.
Do you have any idea how many calories you consumed?
No, I never really sat down and thought about it. But I mean,
Did you get most of your kind of protocol for nutrition and supplementation from magazines as well? Or where did that
yeah,
come?
that, and there was a girl, like, she ran, that lady named T when I was in college, and she kind of ran one of the GNCs there, so she was a good friend of ours, used to work at the Gold's Gym, and so a lot of it was just her and I, like, we would sit around, we'd call different supplement companies and just find
Yeah.
out what they had in supplement, and just talk about different things. So, I mean, yeah, but it was all kind of self-taught.
So you walk into the weight room with your gym bag and then your supplement
yeah.
bag.
I used to have like a duffel bag I used to carry everywhere. They
So
used to laugh at me in
what's
St.
funny,
Louis.
it's like it's how far we've come in maybe 20 years where like, in the late 90s, early 2000s, this is what you were looking at as even a collegiate athlete. Now, I mean, I don't know what it looks like in the SEC or the Big 12 or something like that. But now probably like there's one nutritionist for every so many collegiate athletes, and they have special chefs and everything like that. It's pretty nuts how far it's come since then.
Yeah, it's a lot more specialized and
but they have
tailored.
They've definitely noticed, like from the stuff that I've read, is that there is a shift that how much nutrition does affect your performance.
There's no doubt. I mean, let's go back to high performance cars. You got to put in super unleaded. The higher octane, the better the car runs, the higher the performance car it is. Body's no different.
Yeah.
The better you put in, the better you're going to get out.
For sure. Now, basically, if you've been listening and paying attention, you'll see that for the most part, Brian is self-taught in the weight room. When he left UTEP, correct me if I'm wrong here, you had a 435 bench and a 675 squat?
Yeah, somewhere around, right around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the strongest person on the team? That's pretty nuts. Are you still close to that today?
Well, not in the squats.
Well, the bench, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd somewhere around 400, but I mean, I had, like I said, this like these last couple months consistently is the first I've lifted in probably 10 years. I mean, because I haven't been able to because of all the surgeries I've had on my knee. But
let's go back. Last
can
week
get
we
there.
had a workout, and it ended with max reps of floor press.
At
How many
185.
reps did you do, Bradley?
I did 12.
Brian, how many did you do?
40.
Yeah, I was like, what? And you did, because it was also cleans at
185.
185, but Brian
weight.
did hang cleans, which is still really difficult. I don't know if it's,
I'm not a clean guy.
it's actually, I would venture to say in that workout, the hang cleans would be a lot easier than taking the cleans from the ground, especially at that weight. For reps. How many reps did you do? 30?
Yeah, somewhere
30 something reps?
32, I think.
How many did you do?
I did 32 from the floor.
Yeah. I did 20
I
or
can't go
18.
from the floor. I wish I
so.
could.
Well, that's all right. That's
Well,
all right.
yeah, and a month ago, he was deadlifting, and I offered to sit on one side of the bar because he ran out of room, but we didn't get that far.
That's awesome. So, did you have to do any like specific training for the combine differently than what you were doing?
Yeah, so I mean, I was like I said, I was always more of a lower rep, heavyweight lifting is what I did. So then getting ready for the combine because you got the bench press for max, and so when I actually got to Dallas, I had to kind of retrain my whole body because I mean I could lift a lot of weight, I just couldn't lift them for a lot of times, a lot of reps, and so getting ready for that was a little different.
That's awesome.
So it was a lot more kind of like stuff like we're doing now, a little bit more muscle conditioning than it
Right.
is actual strengthening.
How was it different, if it was at all? So now you're drafted by the Rams, 5th round, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're in an NFL strength and conditioning program. How different was that?
Well, I mean, like I said, well, first of all, yeah, I mean, it's different because, like I said, we didn't have strength coaches in college. We had,
Right.
I mean, when I say that, I mean, they knew what they were doing there, but they were an O-line and D-line coach. Now you actually have two primary strength guys. I mean, you got a huge weight room, and then when you get from college to this level, I mean, you're going against. I mean, you're with grown men now, and so you got guys that have been there for. I mean, I was fortunate when I got to St. Louis. There was a lot of older vets, especially on the D-line, and so I was with a lot of older guys that kind of took me under their wing and actually. When coming up, you're always told, like, during the season, don't lift heavy. You want to make sure that you recover and all these things. And so when I got to St. Louis, I got with the guys, Scanina and Grant and these guys, and they were, no, we're going to go in there, we're going to squat heavy on Mondays after game day. And so it was kind of like the opposite of everything I've ever done. And it was actually an amazing shift because, like, after that, like, my legs would feel unbelievable during the season. Like, so
Really?
I mean, I had one major knee injury. Other than that, I've never had a knee injury. So it was just kind of one of those freak things. But I honestly attribute it to lifting heavy. I mean, we would put 600-700 pounds on the bar on Mondays after a game and squat.
That kind of doesn't surprise me, though, because in a conversation I had with Gerald recently, our track coach, he was saying if you can, like, the same day as you do heavy runs, hit decent numbers on your squat, like, your legs will thank you so much later.
Wednesday, like I said, Monday you do this, Tuesday you're off, and then by Wednesday's practice, your legs felt fresh. You felt like $1 million because it just flushed all that crap out of your muscles.
Yeah.
And versus, I mean, I can remember probably 4, maybe 5 times in my whole career where I did, and I can remember like on Wednesday I felt sluggish and slow.
Dang. What did you feel like after a game day?
Depends. Listen, Toradol shots helped out a lot.
Somebody
If I
told me
didn't know it was bad,
it's
but-
like if you got in a car and went as fast as you could into a wall. That's how you feel.
Yeah, listen, there were some days, but listen, again, and I'll say this too, like, we practiced like full tilt, like especially when Lovey got there, we kind of went. We were always a smaller, like our front was always smaller. We had one guy that was over 300 pounds, so we were not a big D line, but everything was 100 miles an hour in practice. So when game days were actually not hard; they were easy. Like you get in games, and we would run circles around guys in the fourth quarter because we were in such good shape because of how hard we practiced. So I think it made games, game days, post game, a lot easier.
Yeah,
But
that
there
makes
were some
sense.
days, listen, and then of course as you get older, you're pounding that body after a while. Over the years, kind of starts to take a toll on itself. But
Whew. And then you played in a Super Bowl, right, before the Saints? You were
I played
2001.
01, yeah, here in New Orleans. Actually.
Yeah, against New England.
Yeah.
That was-
Full circle.
So you were.
Yeah.
I didn't never put that together that you were with the greatest show on turf, and then you were with the Saints, coupled with
Well,
some
so-
great offenses.
The Saints' first playoff win was against us. My
I was
freshman
there.
year, or my rookie year was against us. Isaac Keene dropped the punt.
Did you know?
Yeah,
that's
I didn't have a good track. So when I signed here, I was like, God, look, I lost a Super Bowl here. We lost a playoff game here my first year. I was like, I didn't have a good track record in New Orleans. I didn't know if I wanted to come out.
Did you know before
The
that
Gregory's
game,
a little
like,
off here. I don't know.
when
Hold
y'all
on.
were in the locker room before you were going to run out, okay? Did y'all know we were doing a voodoo ceremony in the Superdome during that playoff game? They brought a snake out to the field.
Really?
And it was a full stadium voodoo ceremony. I was
Wait,
sitting
I don't
there
think I've like
Yeah.
heard
That's
something.
the first time I ever heard that.
in 2000. Yeah, it was
Damn.
nuts because the Superdome was built on a cemetery.
Yeah.
And so they decided because there'd been all this bad luck that they were going to do a voodoo
Must've worked.
ceremony. It was nuts.
I mean,
And I
yeah.
thought I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then they played that song "I Can Feel It Coming in the Air Tonight."
Oh
Phil
damn.
Collins right before, and then right as the drums went, choo-choo, 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 the Saints ran out. And I was like, oh my god!
Well, because remember we played here the week before, so it was the last game of the season, and we had to beat New Orleans in order to come back the next week for the playoff game. And so I'll never forget it. So we win the game, we're going out to the buses, and all of a sudden these ambulances are coming by, and they've got two of our fans on stretchers, where I guess the fans got pissed off and beat the hell out
God.
of them. Yeah.
I can't
And
stand
so, the
Oh
very
my
next week, so of course
God.
our owner Georgia, she ends up bringing them back to the playoff game. The very next week, we had to turn around and come
And they
back
got
the
their
next
ass
week and
beat
play.
again.
Yeah, and then we got beat.
Yeah.
in a different manner, I guess.
It was, dude,
No,
it
it
was
wasn't
tight.
fun.
I'm like, oh shit, it's happening, and then I'm like, oh, these are the Saints of old,
Yeah,
and
drop
then
the punt.
we save it. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome, man. So, was the nutrition different, like when you entered the NFL?
Well, you can actually afford to eat. Because in college, like I said, you got your scholarship check, and back then you couldn't work, and so you didn't have much money. We got.
They probably didn't have a cafeteria for you like they do now. For
Well,
all the,
no, so we had, it was called Furs Cafeteria. So we got one meal 5 days a week at Furs. And so, like I said, that was where I was getting like the health stuff. And so there's not a lot of healthy things you're going to eat there. So I remember they used to have this it was like a baked fish. I don't even know what kind of fish. It was just a white fish.
Don't worry
And then-
about
and
it.
this sounds
Just
horrible.
don't
I'm
worry
telling you,
about
seriously,
it.
I have
I'm
no
guessing it was tilapia.
It was like little bitty squares, and it had like this breading on it. And I used to not eat hot food at all, but it was the only thing that was halfway healthy that I could eat. So I used to scrape the breading off, and I used to take Tabasco, and I would just drown it in Tabasco because it was horrible. So since then, I've started eating, I eat hot food. I eat hot sauce on everything now because of Great Furs Cafeteria.
Ugh, that's disgusting.
Dude, that sounds awful.
I don't know if you know this, but most fish are not squares
Yeah.
when they swim.
It's like a paste in a sheet, and they just kind of cut it. And So, yeah, it was.
Oh, it's the sausage of fish.
Yeah.
So needless to say, I didn't have to eat that too much once I got in the league. You actually could afford to buy your own food and eat what you wanted. But no, listen, it's
Did they
not-
have protocols for y'all in the league, though?
No, it's different. No, because the snakes, but and I think now it's a lot more of an emphasis than what back then it wasn't. Back then, hell, they didn't. It wasn't. You got to get your 8-10 hours of sleep, and you got to eat right. And listen, hey, make sure you practice. Make sure you know what the heck to do when you're out there practicing on game day. Make sure you're here at meetings and you're not late.
Right.
Don't fall asleep. You do those things.
Right.
You're a grown man. You do it. So, but I think there's a lot more of an emphasis on that nowadays than there was when I came to the league.
Yeah.
Things are looked at kind of different. I think if I'd have come out nowadays with some of the crap I did back then, I don't know if I'd have been drafted. I'd have probably been blackballed.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there does seem to be like more of an intense focus on just football,
Yeah.
like rather than Well, it's probably
it's
because
not
social
about-
media driven and stuff like that. Like everybody's a little bit more in tune to.
It's more the extracurricular things nowadays. Yeah, it's so much. There's no privacy anymore, and everything's filmed and photographed.
You were already thrust into the spotlight and have a lot of attention on you, and now it's
But now everybody's got their own recording
Tenfold.
device, and so that's where everything. And like I said, it's everybody's trying to find that moment. And so it's a lot harder. Like it would be harder. It wouldn't be as much fun. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
As it was back then.
So how'd you decide? Because you were a free agent when you came to the Saints. How'd you decide on that?
You know what? It was a good fit. You know, I liked Hazlitt. You know, talking with him, and I enjoyed my visit coming down here. And you know, and I like when I first, you know, when my contract was up, I told the Rams, I said, look, you know, if you guys match, whatever offer I get, I said I'd like to see it because that was where I got drafted, and I love Martz, and I thought he was a great coach, and then Kolar, who was my D-line coach, but they just said they couldn't match the offer, and so I ended up coming down here, and like I said, I liked it, and enjoyed it, and it's been a great choice and great decision, I guess.
I just want to know, when did you meet Noelle, your wife?
yeah.
So let's see, 02 or 01. So I think it was right after the Super Bowl year.
Mm-hmm. You met her in St. Louis?
In St. Louis, yeah. At
Okay.
a bar called Harpo's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did she have any idea who you were, or no?
Well, no, but actually, her friend was talking with one of my buddies, and so that was just kind of how we met.
That's cool.
And how long were you in St. Louis before you came?
So I was there for 4 years.
Okay.
I got there in 2000, and then we came here in 04.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been
Shit, I didn't know you were here before Katrina.
Yeah, I was here 2 years with Hazlitt. So we moved in English Turn our first year. And then right before Katrina, we bought the house that we still live in now. So we actually had two houses when I was freaking out. So I thought it was right.
So
I thought
you
I had
still
two-
own the house in English
Yeah,
Turn?
I had two houses. So I'm like, oh, God, we're in trouble. Oh. Got two houses gone.
Damn.
Yeah, we lucked out.
That's painful.
What was that like with the team, that 2005 season, like during Katrina?
It was stressful. Like San Antonio, it was a good place to live. All that aspect wasn't bad. I mean, we practiced at a high school there. We had a weight room that was in a big tent in the parking lot. But again, we had everything that you needed in order to be successful. We just,
Right.
Again, I just think we had
We had
there was maybe
distractions,
some
a
lack
lot
of
of mental-
maturity and some of those things. Yeah, and then there were some distractions, but I think in a new town like that, going out, there was a lot of partying and that kind of stuff. New environment and so it definitely wasn't. It didn't make things easy, but listen, man, it worked out.
Yeah, for sure. What was it like with the switch from the 05 to 06 with Sean coming in?
Oh, it was night and day difference. Like Hazlitt. Listen, like I said, I liked Hazlitt, but Hazlitt was kind of a little bit more of like when we had a little bit older team, and he wanted like the vets to kind of, he wanted to treat you like grown men and like, hey, look, you handle your business and treat you like you should be, hey, you do your job, handle your business, and do what you're supposed to do, and versus like when Sean came in, it was kind of like, okay, look, we're gonna clean house and we're gonna reset this thing and
Yeah.
we're gonna build this thing the way we want to build it, and it was like that first training camp was God.
Brutal.
It was hell. I mean, literally, like it was the hardest thing I've ever been through. I mean, it was 100 degrees every day. There was no breeze. I mean, you're talking about 3-hour practices, and back then it was double days, full pads, and it wasn't. I mean, it was nonstop. It was brutal.
And your fitness probably had to be top notch
yeah.
then, huh?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm telling you, 10, 15 pounds of practice. I'd lose weight, water weight every practice. I'd have to get IVs
Damn.
after everyone. Yeah, it was hell. It was unbelievable. Now it was unlike any. You can't describe it. You can't make it sound even nowhere near as bad as it really was.
I heard a story, and tell me if this is wrong or not, that there was like starting to be towards the end of training camp, or it might have been midway through, but y'all were still in Mississippi, where there was like a mutiny brewing in the locker room. Is that true? And like somebody had to go get Drew to like.
Well, I wouldn't call it to that effect. But I think there was, but it wasn't at camp. I don't remember the one at camp. I remember there was one where maybe was it there? Where basically they were like, okay, we're going to come out in shell. Everybody's going to come out in shells instead of full pads.
Right, he went in
Yeah.
full
So
So
pads.
everybody comes out in shells, and they're like, yeah, take your ass back alive. Go get on your pads. Let's
That's
go.
cute.
Yeah.
Now we're late.
But I mean, like in St. Louis, they kind of had the same thing up there. Actually, it was the year before I got there, their Super Bowl year, to where they were actually doing 3 days, and the players were like, look, we're dying. So they finally had to go talk to the coach and like, look, we gotta cut it back some.
Did you wait?
Yeah, they were doing 3
Did
days.
you say 3 a days?
Yeah.
What's a 3 a day look like? I don't even know.
I don't know. I was fortunate enough. I never had to go through one. But
And
yeah,
if you did, you might have blocked that
yeah,
from
listen,
your memory.
I might have had a lot more therapy than I've had to this point.
Oh man, good God. So how did was there noticeable shifts, and we're fitness and nutrition here, along the way throughout your NFL career? Like as the years progressed, did you notice that in New Orleans? Did things change while you were there?
Well, I mean, I think it's like anything else. I mean, you just as you age, and the more you start to read. Like I was always really big into like reading my own stuff. Like I always liked researching things and reading different things and trying to figure things out. And so I've always been that way. I've always been a little, I guess, more on the OCD side of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I've always been big on trying to eat healthy and learning. Like I said, like about 5 years ago, I started reading this book called Eat to Live by this guy, Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And it was kind of an eye-opening thing because some of the things that you read in there, it was kind of different than I'd ever been taught.
Yeah.
And so the more I researched it, it was amazing. So I started this little eating program of his. And I mean, I went from like, I think it was 298 when I started. And like 2.5 months, I was down to like 258. Never worked out once, never lifted. It was just off of changing my eating habits.
Yeah.
And I think that really kind of hit home for me as far as the importance of eating right versus just working out.
So you talk about how now there's a lot more of an emphasis on that in the league. Did that happen after you stopped playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you got, like I said, like we have our own Jamie, our own nutritionist now, and then we got the sleep experts that come in. And so I mean, we have presentations with our guys about sleeps, and they give them what times you should go to bed, what times you should wake up. I mean, so there's a lot more emphasis on daily regimen for
I love that they hammer
optimizing
that.
your body.
I love that they hammer that there because it's something we hammer here.
Yeah.
How big of
Habits.
Habits, but how big like sleep is on your recovery, the ability to build muscle, but also like to keep your metabolism up to lose weight. Like I just
See, the sleep thing goes over my. I mean, I'm 4 or 5 hours a night max.
I know
or
you've
I'm-
told me
I'm
that
in
before.
trouble.
It's
I don't
crazy.
sleep.
So
I've tried.
how hard was it for you as a guy who like exercised all the time, you tried to eat right, all that stuff, after your knee injury? So for those of you who don't know, it was an Atlanta Falcons player, right?
Yeah.
Atlanta
Claybo,
Falcons
the right
player.
Tackle, yeah.
Who? Say it again.
Tyson Claybo.
Tyson Claybo.
Yeah.
Who ruined your career?
Yeah, took a
Brian.
cheap shot on me after a play.
Cheap shot on you. What exactly happened?
It was a play. I think it was a stretch play to our right here in the dome, and ref blew the whistle. I stopped running, and he kind of hit me from behind after play was blown dead. Yeah.
What happened to your knee?
Torn meniscus. So I ended up playing. I think next week we played San Francisco. Played in that game, but I noticed it was swelling. It was really, really painful, and so do the MRI, and they tell me it's a torn meniscus, and so we're getting ready. I think the very next week was Jacksonville, and this is back when they had MJD, and they were rolling a big old line, and they were a powerful run game. I mean, I was 280 most of my career, 280, 285. So I mean, I was a small D lineman, and I just didn't have the leg strength. And so we were getting ready for that game, and I think it was Saturday night before the game. I told the coach, I said, "Look, I'll go, but I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna get killed out there because I can't use my legs. Like it's not working right." And
How do you handle that?
No, they were good. I mean, they understood. I mean, they knew there was something wrong, but we were just trying to see if I could make it through. And I just got to the point to where, and I think at that point, I don't think I've ever missed a game. Actually, I think back my first year here, I missed one game my whole career since high school. I've never missed a game other than once. And so it was hard to.
Yeah, I didn't
say I
realize
couldn't go.
you played on it after the
Yeah.
the fact.
Yeah, the very next week. But like I said, so then when I missed that game, I ended up. So I had surgery, come back, 4 weeks recovery, come back. My first game back was against Atlanta, Monday night at Atlanta. And then I ended up getting like a MRSA staph infection in my lungs that game. So of course I ended up going on IR. I was in the hospital for 10 days. I dropped like almost 30 pounds in 10 days. It was crazy.
What a string of bad
Oh,
luck.
it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that was what started the string of knee problems for you, right?
So that was So that was it. That was the first one, and then I made it through about half the year the next year, and it just never was right again. And listen, part of that may have been me too, because again I was a meathead, and so I wanted to, because my goal was I wanted to squat.
You had a hard
800.
time resting.
And but I had like in my head again I was a heavy leg guy, and so like I always wanted to squat 800 pounds. So I was at 798. I got hurt. Seriously, I'm to tell you, this is how my head works.
Yeah.
And so I never quite got there, and so I was like, okay. So I think I started pushing it a little too hard, and I don't think I gave enough time and didn't slow down enough like I probably should have. But
So
it's done, and-
that's it. You never squatted 800.
no, never got there. 798.
You were 2 pounds away,
Yeah.
and you never squatted.
You're like
800.
this
Yeah.
far.
That makes me think of like Ronnie Coleman. For those of you who don't know, Ronnie Coleman was Mr. Olympia for like 3 years. You know who Ronnie Coleman? Yeah. And I believe he's in a wheelchair now.
Oh, really?
I think so. But he is still like lifting all the time, even from a wheelchair. It's pretty nuts. I think he gets up in and out, but he talks about like he went through numerous leg injuries and he would still squat with all kinds of problems
Yeah.
because he had numbers that he wanted to hit. It's just a mindset, people.
Yeah. it
Yeah.
is.
That's pretty nuts.
Pay for it, but listen, I'd do it all over again.
How many surgeries have you had?
23 on my knee. On my knee, 23. Yeah.
23 cents?
Yeah, 20. Yeah, from the first surgery till now, 23 on the left knee.
So, how is it for you? Like, I know you worked out through that.
Well,
right?
no, I mean, some, but I mean, not like I wanted to. I mean, my knee. I mean, I was draining 60 to 120 cc's of fluid out of my knee like every 3 days. So,
Jeez,
yeah, I mean, it was a pretty. So I mean, no matter what I did, it was going to swell on me. So I finally got to a point where I was like, okay, the hell with it, I'm going to squat. I'm going to do all the things that I'm going to run on it, even though I mean, what am I going to damage it more?
Right.
And so I was doing some of those things, and it just.
What was the pain level like?
It was. Well, the year before I actually did the replacement, it was brutal. But I mean, before that, I mean, you kind of got used to it. I mean, I didn't realize how bad it was until I went back and I watched film of like in practice of me walking, and when I started paying attention to it, I noticed how bad, like my whole leg, like it looked like a kickstand sticking out the side of my leg. And so I was walking on my right leg, my foot was rolled out. It was a lot worse than what I realized.
I mean, listening to you talk about your mindset and just growing up and going on 5-10 mile runs with your dad, like when you're in it and you're committed, you don't realize how bad it is until you remove yourself and look back on it. So
yeah, my dad was always, hey, look, unless it's falling off, don't come cry to me about it. I don't care about it hurting. So that was just always my mindset. Okay,
so it's
there, I'll use it.
It's interesting, like
it works.
Yeah,
listening to you throughout your entire life. I mean, talking about your entire life leading up to this point, and then what people don't know, and I know this because Noel told me, is like a few months ago is when it finally got better. But like you were about to cut it off, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess I've had so many of them, and I told the doc, I said, look, if it gets, because the year before last, it got infected right after the replacement during training camp, and fortunately, it didn't get in the bone, because if it gets in the bone, they basically have to take the knee replacement out. They put in a spacer, this antibiotic spacer, so it's like a replacement for the knee replacement, but it's full antibiotics. And that's, I think, 8 weeks. And then they got to go back in and redo the knee replacement. And so I just told him, I said, look, man, if it gets into the bone and you got to do all that, I'm done. Cut it off. I'm not going through this crap anymore. So this year when it got infected again, so I was
real close.
I told him, I said, look, man, if it's in the bone, I'm not doing it. Cut it off. I'm not doing it no more. So, I mean, look, man, nowadays with prosthetics, I mean, you can do, I could
you
probably do
work out a little bit better. Yeah.
Because I mean, right now, I mean, my knees, I can get it to 90, but not much more than that.
That's rough, man. So you've been with us now for two months. Like what kind of an adjustment was the fitness we do here at Rue versus like what you were doing before?
Well, I mean, it's different in the fact, it's, like I said, it's a total body, it's conditioning. I mean, like you get muscle fatigue quick. Yeah. I do anyways. I mean, like I said, I'm used to heavy weights, so it's definitely a different kind of workout. But I tell you what, like, when you do football, it's hard to simulate the kind of conditioning you got to have in order to play the game of football, because it's such a total body workout. It's different. But this is one of the closest things I've done that can give you that type of strain on your body.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty neat. It is pretty neat because I know what we try to do here, and I had recently sent out an email to the coaches just talking about our programming, is because it's tough. We used to be pretty heavy, like performance-based, but performance-based doesn't always equal most people's goals because, I mean, you're hungrier. You putting on muscle in different places and stuff like that doesn't necessarily reach an aesthetic goal. So we try to like balance the aesthetics and the performance part, because if you go all aesthetics in terms of working out, it's boring as shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like we try to do a combination of the two here. And I think it's been really working out well for us. So
my body hurts.
My body hurts.
My body hurts a lot today.
Like I said, 2 months, and I mean, I still wake up some days like my hips and my back. I'm like, gosh darn, I know I've been working out, but I don't feel like it.
Yeah. So you would say that the biggest catalyst though for you, like I guess the thing that kept you was 5 years ago, you reading that book and making the mindset shift with your nutrition, huh?
Yeah, it was big. Like I said, like right now, I mean, I didn't follow. I did that 1 year, and then I kind of got away from it. And I was actually up to, like this summer, I was up to 314, which like when I played, I couldn't sniff 300 pounds. I mean, I was 280, 285.
Yeah.
Right.
And so all of a sudden I was like, something's got to change. This is crazy. I mean, I just never imagined I'd be over 300, but not like that. And
what do you weigh now?
About 285. So I've dropped about 30 pounds.
Good. You have a goal, right? 260? Is that?
Well, I'm trying to get down to 250. We'll see. That may be a little lofty, but we'll see. I don't know what I'd get. 250 pounds has been.
I love it,
since
man.
Probably my freshman year.
You do awesome. I do have to ask you about this though. So I was told that like every year y'all play a little like scrimmage between the coaches, right? 3 plays,
Yeah.
and the coaches fight over
Turkey Bowl.
the coaches fight over who gets to line up against you.
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
because they want to or they're scared to? I don't know.
Well,
They said
I don't know
I
about
was
now.
told it's because
Is
they
it like a
see
short
your.
straw thing or?
I heard it's because they watch you drain your knee and they're like, oh, I need
Yeah,
to.
dude, that was one year. Well, listen, it was a one-time thing. Somebody walked by. We were fixing to play Turkey Bowl, and my knee was stiff because it was full of fluid. So I said, okay, well, stuck a needle in it, drained it out real quick. Are you ready? Because we had Turkey Bowl coming up. So,
What does Turkey Bowl look like? Give me the full description of what that looks like.
picture guys that probably used to be able to play the game that really can't quite do it anymore, and are out there trying their best. It's about what it is for 3 plays.
A for effort.
So it's 3 plays.
Yeah, it's about 3 plays.
Inside the 10, inside the 20?
Yeah, well, we've done like inside the 10 in red zone. Yeah.
Y'all hitting?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're not trying to kill it. Well,
How many
I'm
on
trying to kill it, but it ain't. Yeah, it's not. You're trying to be smart about it, I guess.
How many on how many?
Offense versus defense.
Oh.
And they'll bring in like the strength coaches, and we'll add some guys out there. But we try to get all the coaches that are involved, and
That's awesome.
yeah.
Shit, if you ever need a 20-second person, I'm your man. But I'm only playing outside the hashes. Brian.
He'll be over there.
No, we've had some good games, though. We've had some intense battles out there. It's been fun.
I love it. All right, so let's end on this. What advice kind of would you give to maybe a high school kid in terms of working out nutrition-wise that is trying to prep for, which is funny because you do have a high schooler right now. What grade is Austin in?
He's going into his freshman year.
Going into his freshman year. So, like, you're dealing with this right now. How would you say they need to prep in order to maybe advance in their sport?
Well, listen, I think it's like anything else, man. Like I said, the more you put into something, the more you're going to get out of it. And nowadays, I think it's and I say easier, there's a lot of bad information out there. But with the internet, and there's so much information that you can actually research on your own, and you can find ways that you can better yourself. And again, like we talked about earlier with the cars, and what you put in your body is what you're going to get out of your body. So the better you take care of it now, the better it's going to take care of you later. And again, habits. And so at this age now, if you start building these good habits now as you get older, it's easier to make habits than break habits. And so you're not having to break a bad habit that you've learned early on because you're starting things the right way. It can't hurt you. It can only help you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Who is and I'm going to ask you this. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but who is like the most fit on the defense?
Most fit? Well, I mean, I guess what's your definition of fit? I mean, listen, we
Yeah,
have
what
some
are we
freaks.
talking
What's your biggest workout freak?
Probably Anya Mata right now.
Oh, I see that.
He's a freak. He's strong
Yeah.
as an ox now.
And he's like ripped too,
Yeah,
right?
he's like 300 pounds. Yeah,
yeah, but 300 pounds are like muscle.
Well, that's
not-
actually, and honestly, that's how I started when I started this offseason getting back into training, because I talked trash and told him at the end of this summer, him and I were going to have a bench contest, and I was going to wear him out in the weight room. So, well, I mean, I don't want to try to find something positive about this company, but it might have saved me from getting destroyed in it.
Yes.
I love it. What about on offense? Who's your?
I don't know who the offensive guy would be. I really don't. I don't know who the guy is for them. I just know our guys. We're around our guys more than we are the offense.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, we always try to say like which position would make the best CrossFitter, and I feel like running back on offense probably.
Those, yeah. I mean, you see like videos of Kamara and those guys.
Yeah,
I tell you,
Kamara would be a
Morsted's
great cross.
he's a pretty
Look, let me tell you something. I sent you that
Yeah.
picture of Thomas at Big Easy, but he is
Little bitter.
A little bitter. Thomas, we're right around the corner from your house, bro. Right? We are, right?
Yeah.
But I watch his videos. He is jacked. He's strong.
No, he is.
He is super strong.
Yeah,
So
I mean, he's
like,
kind of like he was like before really a lot of this the CrossFit's like he's like since he's been in all it's like we had like these bars with they're kind of going up at a 45.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's
Yeah.
and with his little legs up and he's crawling up and climbing down and rings and I mean all that stuff. So
the most impressive thing I saw him do was he did like a single arm L set that was weighted from a bar hanging, and then he would go up and down with
stop.
this positioning here, but kept his body
yeah.
in a perfect position. I was like, damn, that's hard.
He's
I'm
strong.
sore thinking about that.
Yeah.
So I love it.
I couldn't do it, so I don't want to worry about it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Good for you.
All right, y'all. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Sarah, what are the rules?
Only 5 stars, y'all.
Only 5 stars, and you can only say nice comments.
Just say
but
nice
also
things.
give us a share. Brian, are you on social media? I don't think so. Huh?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, good for you.
Not at all.
Good for you.
Wonderful.
But you can follow us on Instagram at @Rue_fitness.
_.
So, all right, y'all. Peace out. Bye.
Bye.